Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Witt-Daring, and today I want to talk to you about my views on benzodiazepines and how I think they should be used and how I think they shouldn't be used. The most common benzodiazepine medications used, at least in the US these days, is things like Xanax and Klonopin. However, this also applies to drugs like temazepam and Valium. If anyone's ever used these before, it's very obvious that they have a very potent anxiety-reducing and sleep-inducing effect. And the problem with the medications is this goes away fairly quickly. For the hypnotic effect, usually that's kind of worn down and disappears within about a week, maybe a little bit longer. And then you need to go to a higher dose to get the same effect. With the anxiety effect, reducing effect, that usually goes away in about 2 months. And what's really happening is that you're taking this foreign chemical and it's having this effect on your GABA receptor system, and it's causing more inhibition in the brain, and it's resulting in those effects, the pleasant ones, the reduced anxiety and reduced sleep, reduced insomnia. But over time, your brain just adapts to that. So it doesn't like having this global inhibition on the brain, and so it downregulates the GABA receptors to kind of bring it back to a more normal homeostasis, a more normal set point. And so what that means is the drugs essentially, they stop working. You're not going to get that same hypnotic effect at that same dosage anymore, or the same anxiety reducing effect, and you need to take higher and higher amounts to get that same effect. And when you do that, you end up getting more and more compensatory changes, and then essentially you end up in a position many months down the line where you're on a fairly high dose of this medication. You may be having some side effects, but it's not really doing that much. In fact, it may even be making you more anxious, and sometimes that does happen in a lot of people who take Xanax for anxiety long term. They'll maybe take it twice a day, and right in the morning and then in the evening, and for like the 90 minutes or something right after they take it in the morning or in the evening, they'll feel fine. They'll feel maybe relaxed, more at ease. But the time after that and in between that, they actually feel more anxious. They have more ruminating, anxious thoughts, because that kind of peak of the drug in your system has worn down, and now you're experiencing more anxiety because you've had all these compensatory adaptations in your brain, which essentially they just kind of have you now at a higher anxious set point. So people who take these medications long term, they end up having almost like mood and anxiety, which is more out of control. It has that kind of pattern. And okay, so that happens. So, long term, you end up with more anxiety, or this very unstable kind of situation where you feel fine right after you take it, but then before you take your next dose, you're just kind of feeling you're just feeling worse. Long term, if you take these medications, it can actually lead to some neurological problems. It's called protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal. It's now in all of the labels for the benzodiazepines, and this is a serious problem. This is something that can go for several years. Usually people, when they try and come off the medication, they develop a constellation of psychiatric and neurological problems, severe anxiety, neuropathic pain, and sensory abnormalities, sometimes really loud ringing in the ears. So it is not something that you want. So if you are someone and you are in this position and you've been taking them long term and you're kind of worried about the effect it could have on your health, I would recommend doing a very slow taper. We have a lot of videos on this channel about how you could do it. Find a psychiatrist that can do something like this. You can go to Benzodiazepine Information Coalition for a list of doctors there that can help you do that. You can also come to my website, if you could look at the link below. And if you live in one of the states we work in, we'd be able to do a safe taper and help you kind of come off these medications in a safe way. So I hope that was helpful. And yeah, thank you.